Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome back. If you are a returning supporter, I do apologize for my timeliness. I have experienced a bunch of technical difficulties this evening, and I am just happy to be here. Um, I'm going to go ahead and get my disclaimers out the way because I am late. And yeah, we're going to do that. Today's topic is learn to unlearn. Of course, I have a list of things that we should unlearn, how we should unlearn them, and all of those things. But one moment, let me go ahead and give my disclaimers. Number one, I do not tolerate disrespect. That is in any way, shape, form, or fashion. That is towards me, towards anyone that appears in the chat, towards anyone that appears on the screen. It is 2022. You survived every possible disease, everything, a global fucking pandemic. You survived everything. And if you have chosen to live your life in a negative, unhappy space, please don't do that here. And I only said please because I really want you to consider choosing a different alternative. There will be curse words. There will possibly be tears. I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experience to let you know two things. One, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. And two, you are not alone. I know oftentimes we go through things, we experience things in our lives, and we feel like we are the only person on earth or in existence to ever experience it. But you are not alone. Actually, this podcast came out as a result of me going on a journey of healing and self discovery and thinking about all of the things that I wish someone would have said to me or conversations I would have had. So I'm here to have these nurturing conversations with you. Let's see. That should be it. Oh, my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. We're here to have a healthy conversation, a healthy, nurturing conversation about our opinions with the hopes that we better understand each other. And that's about it. No disrespect. No disrespect. Learn to unlearn. So, I know you're probably like, learn to unlearn. What is that all about? Well, on my journey of healing and self discovery, I realized that there came a point where I had to unlearn a lot of things that I was taught from birth. A lot of things that I just picked up, given circumstances that happened to me in life. And I just had to learn new ways of coping, new ways of dealing with things. And we're going to talk about a bunch of those things tonight. First, I'm going to start off. If you ever been to any one of the podcast lives, if you ever been to anyone, you will always hear me say that your family, your home is where you understand life. That's where you know how to treat people, know how to talk to people, know how to love people. You learn that in your household. I am a strong advocate for a household being a place of safety. I am a strong advocate for that. Um, and so oftentimes we grow up in households that are not, they may appear to be safe, but they are not safe. And sometimes we pick up things that we carry from our childhood to our teenage, to our young adult, to our even super grown adult lives that we just don't realize, or we realize, or we just don't know how to handle. So I got a little list here. I don't know how far we gonna get on this list, but y'all know I'll be having notes, and I try to stay on my notes. I try, but hey. So, given that the family is the first place where we learn love. Or I'll say, well, we should learn love. However, our households aren't America's dream household. Some of us don't come from two parent households. Some of us don't even come from households with our parents. Some of us come from households with our grandparents or other family members, and we don't experience that parental love. A parental love. I was trying to think of another word, but I'm not sugarcoating shit. It's the parental love that we are lacking. And so we don't have that we don't have that complete understanding of what it's like to just be loved without any reservations, or like they have unconditional love, or all of the different loves. We have no idea what it's like to be like that. And so a part of us, I grew up in a single parent household. And for me, I felt abandoned by my mother and my father. So there was abandonment and there was rejection. And it's not that they weren't, my father wasn't there. He didn't come around till I was older. But my mother was there the entire time. But I felt, and again, I'm saying I felt, because it was my feelings, that she abandoned me. Because everyone talks about mothers and daughters, and it's like, oh yeah, they got a good relationship, or mothers and sons. Like everyone is like, there's this idea of what a mother daughter relationship should be like, and that was not what my experience was with my mother. And so I kind of felt bad. I kind of longed for that, longed to have a mother daughter relationship. Luckily for me, I didn't have that with my mother, but I had it with my grandmother. And maybe you were someone who grew up in a household with your grandmother, um, regardless of the circumstances. And I don't know about y'all, but I had a grandmother that was from the South, and like she was on it, grandma on it, everything. And she taught me so much stuff. She taught me so many things. She taught me how to cook. She taught me how to separate laundry. She taught me things that to this very day I hold near and dear. Now, a lot of things that she taught me, as you get older, how to chew the meat and spit out the bones, as the older people will say. But in the same token, she taught me love. Like, she taught me, okay, I want to know, like I said last Sunday on the podcast, like we had Sunday dinners, and in my mind, I was thinking, like, we just having Sunday dinners because this is what families do. But in actuality, every Sunday, it was like the end of the week, and my grandmother would have dinner, and she would always ask us, how did our week go? Or if we stayed at her house with her, because she was a teacher, she would always ask us, when we come home from school, how was our day? So for me, that for me was like a form of love. It was like she actually cares to know how my day was. And for me at those times, it was really difficult. So it meant the world to me to have someone to actually care. And this is why I say households is where it's important, because that's the first line of defense. And I hate to say the first line of defense, but we are living in 2022. There is predators everywhere, everywhere. Church, schools, um, sports teams, homes, family members' house. There are predators everywhere. So that's why it's important for us to have high level. That's why it is important for us to have a solid, loving foundation. I was thinking on my way, I was driving today, and I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Oftentimes, well, back in the days, when you think about, I'm not even going to say that. When you think about your mother or your father, when you think about your parents, do you love them, or do you reverence them out of being your parents, or do you reverence them out of they brought you into this world and they can take you out? Like, think about your reverence for your mother. Like, think about your respect you have for your parents. Is it because they brought you into this world, or is it because you truly do love them? Have you ever thought about that? I was thinking about that. And I'm going to tell you why I was thinking about that. Because I was thinking, like, when we're growing up, we are taught, like, we love them because that's our mother, that's our father. We're supposed to love them because, they're our parents. They take care of us. They give us food. They give us shelter. They give us clothing. And then I'm sure everybody who has gotten to this point in their life, like I want to say like 15, 16, maybe you said it earlier, I never asked to be here. You ever said that to yourself? I never asked to be here. So then that kind of flips the whole, you are supposed to take care of me because you thought enough of me to bring me here. So I was just thinking, like, wait a minute. I used to like there are people, there are actual real life people right now today. You're probably watching that actually fears your parents and you love them on the basis of fear. Like you are afraid of them. Like I was thinking, like I am grateful for the family that I grew up in. Mainly because not because we were taught to like challenge everything, we weren't necessarily taught that, but they gave us the option. They gave us the option to let us know that our voice mattered. If you understand what I'm saying, like they gave us the option. It wasn't like do this because I said do this. It was it wasn't like that. It wasn't like, oh, because I'm the adult, do it. No, it was more so like I'm trying to put it where it doesn't seem like that, but it wasn't like there was a negotiation. There wasn't no negotiation. It was a loving, the way they asked us to do things, or they didn't tell us, they more so asked us to do it. And for me, that meant the world to me because it wasn't like I was being forced to do things. If you know me, I have this thing where people just feel like they can tell me to do. I, you can't tell me to do anything. That's just in me in my mind. It's my stubbornness. I'm working on that. I'm on a journey of healing and self discovery. I'm working on that. But it's given the option. And I am grateful for having the option because as I got older and shit started happening to me, it lets me know that I have options. I tell my nieces and nephews all the time that they have an option. They have an option. One thing I appreciate my family for is letting me know that I have options. I don't necessarily, if I, and you're like, what kind of options? You ever have your family cook, like, say you don't eat chicken, right? But there's like chicken being served, and you have the option to either eat the chicken or not eat the chicken. It might seem simple and basic to you, but that's an option. Sometimes in my house, it was like, either you gonna eat what I prepared for you or you gonna go to bed hungry. And that was two options. You didn't want to go to bed hungry and you didn't want to eat what was being served. So you will get a plate and you learn to negotiate. So I learned to negotiate with my siblings at the table because I know that they like chicken and they know that I like macaroni. So hey, this is what we gonna do. When she's not looking, this is so funny. I remember this. When she's not looking, we're going to exchange. It's the art of negotiation. See, I done already learned how to negotiate. Um, we learned so many things in our household that you probably don't think that you learn, but you definitely do. And you learn how to love other people, not just your parents, but like if you have siblings, maybe you don't have siblings, you learn how to love and how to respect another person's like space. Like if you are a younger sibling, you have an older sister or you have an older brother, and they're like, they got the best clothes, they got the best shoes, the best video games. It seemed like it's the best of everything. It's really not. It's really normal. But because you don't have it, it seems like it's the best. So you in there just taking their shoes and you taking their clothes and you wearing it out, sneaking in, all of that, right? That's where you learn respect. In our household, we was always taught like whatever we wanted, ask for it. And I already knew that to be true because, of course, I'm the only girl. So whatever I wanted, I would just always ask for it. If I didn't get it, I wasn't one of those people that'd be like, you know what, let me go take it anyways or steal it or anything like that. That wasn't never my style. Mainly because everything I pretty much asked for kind of got. So, I mean, that's a whole nother story. We're going to get to that in a minute. But that's a whole nother story. But you learn respect, right? You learn respect directly by, how you interact with your siblings, your parents. And you also learn respect by how your mother or father or your parents or the people that are in authority over you talk to you, how they treat you, not only just you, but the other people in the house is what you learn respect. Like you're a parent, you ever like get in an argument with your significant other and then you notice the action of your child change, like they're irritated or they're angry. No, you might not notice it, but you have indirectly displayed an action to your child that they're going to pick up on, whether we notice or not, whether you know this or not. You're probably going to know it from right now. But children pick up They say children are sponges, and while you say, "Oh yeah, I'm doing all of the good stuff in front of them," but you don't think about the bad things that you do. Like, uh, today, my niece, Bobo, had a stool fall on her, and she said, "Oh shit," and I laughed, and I wasn't laughing at the fact that she said, "Oh shit." I laughed at the fact that she thought enough to say it instead of her crying like, "Oh my God, that was hurtful." I'm like, everybody goes, she just like, "Oh shit," like it's just an everyday thing that happened to her, like, and I was just looking like, wow, the thought, her thought of putting those words when that happened to her. How did she know to do that? How did she know to do that? Like some adults can't even figure that stuff out. But how does she know to do that? And that helps me know, or lets me know, that kids observe everything. Everything. There's a trend right now on TikTok, and it's where parents ask their kids, or they give their kids permission to say what they would say. This is not funny. They give their kids permission to say what they would say every time. Like, say they discipline them, they say, the one lady said, "Tell me what you will say to me after I tell you can't have something to go to your room." This little boy cussed his mama out so, and her face, she was so dumbfounded, was like, "But how do you know those words? Where did you hear them from?" And I'm like, she like, "Well, I guess they are listening." And that's why I say, your kids, or we learn, if you are a parent, you know that you learned from your parent. You ever said, "I'm not going to raise my kids like that. I'm not going to do that to my kids." And then you change the way you raise your kids, and you find out your kids be like bad as cat hair. I always wanted to say that. Your kids are bad as cat hair. And then it's like, well, what happened? That's because why you didn't discipline them the way that your parents disciplined you. You forgot to discipline. Like my siblings always be like, "Well, you should start disciplining the kids," and I was like, "Oh, I have the best form of discipline. I don't discipline. I don't whoop kids. I don't yell at them. I don't yell at anybody. I just like to speak to them in a calm voice, and I say, "You can't come over my house," just like that. Just that look. You can't come over my house, and it seems to flick a switch or something in them, and they're like, "I won't do it again. I'm so sorry." And it's not the me like saying it like that. It's like, you know what you did was wrong, and I'm not gonna scream and yell at you. I'm not gonna whoop you. I'm not gonna discipline. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna tell you, you can't come to my house. I can't have kids that won't listen at my house. Cause I don't like the yell. I don't like the scream. And then they're looking at me like, "Okay, TT, I'm sorry." And then I could come to your house, and then you know me, I'd be like, "Yeah, of course you could have came to my house before, but I just have to make sure that I, put my foot down." I don't put my foot down. These kids know. Anyways, learn to unlearn. We have to learn to unlearn. This is something that I really wish a lot of. Probably should have went live on Facebook with this too, but I really wish a lot of people would learn or unlearn that their emotions don't matter. A lot of times people don't cry or don't be vulnerable, or some people don't know how to do that, and I completely understand why. Because for a long time, like, you ever get a whooping and they're telling you to shut up while they're whooping you? Have you ever, as a parent, if you're a parent, or if you are someone who has ever gotten a whooping? I got one whooping in my entire life. It changed my whole understanding of life. You ever got a whooping and you're getting a whooping and they're saying, "Shut up"? Let's look at that for a minute. You are afflicting pain on my flesh, and you want me to be quiet at the same time you are doing that. It's a psychological thing for me. It's like I'm supposed to be quiet while pain is happening. I don't know if you put one and two together, but think about it. Like, as you get older, as you go through things in life, you find yourself being quiet. It's like, "Oh, I brought this on myself," when in reality you didn't. You are hurting. It's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to say, "This shit hurts." I figured out after getting that one whooping, I was so inquisitive. I asked questions. If I did something wrong, I asked the question because I need to know how to change my behavior so that I will never ever get a whooping again. I'm 42, only got one whooping. I was 10 years old. I remember it like it was yesterday. It wasn't. It was a long time ago, but I still remember it. That was a lot. It was a lot for me because I never would have thought I would have got a whooping, but I did. So it's the trauma of that. Like, think if you grew up in a household where you like, when I think about people who are like the oldest, right? So in case you don't know, there is a dynamic that people don't talk about. They don't talk about the oldest, what the oldest experienced. They don't talk about what the middle experienced, and they don't talk about what the youngest experienced, right? I'm going to break it down for you. As the oldest, there are things that my mother experimented with me on that she didn't do with the other three that she has. As the oldest, I watched my mom do things with my middle brother that she didn't do with me or my other brother. And I have a younger brother. He's the youngest of us all, and it is totally different. So, when parents be like, there is no handbook, and I keep saying this, like, why don't parents write a handbook? Like, why don't every I think that there could be so many different authors. Like, if you are a parent who has a child with autism, you could write a book on what your experiences is with autism and your child and how you handled it. If you are a parent who has a child that is just bad, and I don't normally say kids are bad, but I've seen some kids where it's just like, yeah, they're bad. If you have kids that have behavioral problems, like, how do you manage those behavioral problems? Like, if people start talking, having nurturing conversations about these things, then I feel like more things will change. I was saying, if you've, I don't know where you live and you've been watching the news, but I've been watching the news, and there's like so many unalivings of women and their children. And for me, I feel like if more, I'm not just going to say African American men, I'm going to say more men, period. If more men were allowed to express their feelings, to talk about, like, maybe if they had men groups where they just come together and be like, yo, bro, I just had my heart broken by a chick, or man, this working is not working for me. I'm feeling stressed out, or I'm irritated at whatever feeling that they are having. Like, they have a safe space where they could talk about it. I feel like more people would be alive. More people would be in productive relationships. However, people don't have the ability to communicate, because that's on my list. The top three of them was love, respect, or it's top four: love, respect, and communications, feelings and communications. We don't know how to talk to each other, because if you think about it, in your household, right, y'all was either talking at each other, or they were yelling at you, or if your parents or family members was talking to you in a small voice. You think about, like, people that come from really rich or wealthy environments, right? We always used to joke like, hey, they want to be like us, so they come to our neighborhoods and they hang out or whatever, but they really want to be, they want to live our lifestyle. They don't like, we could switch lifestyles at any time, because you got a car at 16, you got a flat screen in your TV, you got a theater in your house. Oh, we only got one TV, and that's in the living room. Y'all know where you picking up what I'm putting down. They want to experience that lifestyle, but it's like, you don't want to live over here. You don't want to know what it's like to not have your father, or not have a parent actually care enough to say, you know what, I noticed you went from hanging out with your friends and being lively and playing sports or whatever, to not doing anything but sitting in your room, and your room is always dark. Like, you notice those things, like, you pay attention and you notice those things. I feel like more people had the opportunity in a safe space to talk about their feelings, there will be a lot more people willing to be vulnerable. There will be a lot more people in healthy relationships. We don't talk about healthy relationships. We always talk about toxic. You could go on all of social media, you will see toxic relationships all the time. We don't talk about the healthy relationships. And the people that are in the healthy relationships don't really talk about unless they being interviewed on like Oprah or somewhere like that. Like, how come we don't have more like YouTubers that's in relationships? It's like, hey, this is what we did, or this is how I do it. Or why don't we have more people like just even in our families? Like, you have family members that's been married for 15, 20, 30. It's people that be married for 40 years. Can you imagine that? 40 years. Whew. But those people that has been married that long has definitely been through a lot in their life, and it could tell you something about having a long lasting relationship. I was talking, like you just be talking to your friends and you'd be like, you remember when people back in the days used to have like upwards of 10 kids, like 15, 20, 21 kids and all that stuff. Like, what happened to that? Like, what happened to, like, now it's just like people, some would like to do one or two, or some is like none. Like, I thought, like, when you're younger, right? I went to cooking for therapy this weekend, and we were having a conversation. It was a really dope. Let me pause right here to say this right. If you go on Eventbrite in your city and there's like free events where it's like cooking with therapy or any kind of events where you can get out and learn, like meet other people, you should definitely do that. I went to an event and it was called Cooking for Therapy, and I'm really glad I went because I'm on a light, love, and positivity journey. But I'm really glad I went because I got to meet and talk to some people from Africa, people from the United States. I talked to vegans. I talked to all kinds of people. I talked to future nurses, future doctors. I talked to all kinds of people, right? And that was right up my alley because y'all know I like to talk. But we were talking, and they asked us what happened. We went, like, there was a therapy session, there was a sound bath, there was guided meditation. I'm gonna talk to y'all about that on a later time. But there was a chef, right? And the whole is cooking with therapy, is cooking as a form of therapy. And she was talking and she was like, what is your favorite dish that you remember growing up? Like, what's your dish from your childhood? And in my mind, I was just thinking, like, when my grandmother would cook in the kitchen for like Sunday dinners, right? You would hear about how much love and joy they would have in the kitchen cooking. Like, they'll be in there. That my grandmother had the music on and she dancing and she just making a meal. And when she asked that, I literally was transported to the first time that I learned how to cook. Right now, this isn't what I said, but I remember the first time I learned how to cook, I was 8. I made fried pork chops, Spanish rice. I think it was corn, definitely cornbread, and I made a yellow cake with chocolate frosting. I remembered that. I remember how excited I was where I actually got to cook everything. Like, you would sit in the kitchen and you watch your grandma baking pies, and she's opening up milk with a little cowl on the front, and you don't have any clue what that is, but you're like, why is milk in a can and not in a jug? And so the lady started talking. She was like, she said she remember her mother's dressing. And so they go around the room and everyone is like dressing. I said oven macaroni because if you don't know, I love macaroni, and my granny makes the best macaroni. She's like, who makes the best macaroni? I was like, anybody from the South. And now that I think about it, I can't say anybody from the South because some people be from the South, but they still can't cook. But anyways, so she was telling how one day she tried to do something special for her mother, and she's like, I made a dinner. And she's like, I called myself going to present to my mother her dressing. So she's like, her mother came in and was like, oh, it smells so good. That sweet potato pie you got in the oven smells so good. And she, like, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out, I didn't make no sweet potato pie, so what is she talking about? So she goes, and, she's serving. She says she served her mom the dressing. And her mom says, what did you put in this dressing? And she said, I remembered when I was little, you had all of the seasonings lined up on the things. And so I put all of the seasonings that you had lined up. For me, I just laughed because I was like, I could see that. Like, growing up, you see your parents, like, make a cake. So you see them, like, even Christmas Day, go with me right here, just follow me, right? Christmas Day, think about it, right? Remember they had us, I hope you're not watching this and you still believe in Santa Claus. If you do, hey, I'm sorry. Remember they had us thinking like somebody was gonna really come down the chimney. Sometimes we would leave cookies and stuff, and then they'd be gone, and we'd be like, "Yeah, Santa Claus done brought us all this stuff." That wasn't no damn Santa Claus, and your parents is sitting in their in their room wrapping the gifts, or the gifts was already wrapped, and they was like, "Oh, you could go to sleep now," and then you wake up and it's like, "Ooh," or the tooth fairy. You know that those are really lies that they've been lying to us for ever, ever. And I don't blame them because I feel like a lot of things that we do are repeated because no one just decides to stop them. This is what I feel like. I feel like a lot of things are repeated because no one decides to say, hey, I'm going to stop talking to you about the tooth fairy, Easter. I'm going to stop talking to you about Santa Claus. I'm going to stop talking to you to all this because, number one, I'm lying to you. They don't exist. They're not even real. If you ever thought about how a fucking rabbit lay eggs, like you ever thought about that? Like, I don't know. Whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But it's if we live in a society, right, where I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. I know you probably going to look like what? I'm going to say this. In a way, I am grateful for social media and people being able to share their thoughts and ideas and feelings on social media, but I at the same time wish they had someone close to them. Whew. I wish that they had someone close to them that they can go and talk to and say, "Hey, this is how I'm feeling." And someone, instead of being judgmental, will put their arms around them and be like, "Hey, I felt like this one time too." You know, like, "Hey, I felt like," I was talking to someone and I was like, I told y'all pretty much all of my life. If you don't know, you could definitely go back to the back at the beginning and you could watch it all the way up. But now I took y'all from 0 all the way to 42, and I planning to take y'all, where I'm going in a few more days. But anyways, but I feel like more people need to share their story. I feel like more people need to understand love. Like, imagine growing up in an environment where you were always belittled. You were called out your name, called dumb and stupid, and said you'll never be anything. And oh, you just like your father, you just like your mother, you just like your parents, and you're hearing that. Like, you're constantly hearing that on a constant basis. So now you're going to school or you hanging out and you're just like, yeah, I ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't gonna be nothing anyway. So let me go ahead and bust this move. Let me go ahead and be right here. You don't care anyways. That's the thing. That's why in the beginning I was like, you know what? You are not alone. You're not the only person that felt like nobody cared. I definitely, sure, I told y'all, my parents, the two main people that brought me here, I felt like they did not care about me. That wasn't 100% true, and that's because for me that was my experience. I didn't care what they said to me. I didn't feel like y'all cared anyways. You didn't care. If you would have cared, if you would have cared, you would have been there, not realizing that when I talked to my father, there was circumstances beyond both him and I control that a lot that kept him from being with me. Now that I'm older, I'm grateful that he went the route that he went. Cause who knows how it would have turned out. I was already getting spoiled by these people. What if he would have came? I would have just probably been a wreck. I don't really know, but I can only imagine. I could truly only imagine. Again, I'm grateful that I come from a family that um, allowed space for communication. If I didn't like something, it was like, do you want this? Do you want to go? Like, I don't know if you are a parent, but listen to what I'm about to say. If you ask your child, do they want to go somewhere, and they say they don't want to go, do not force them to go. That is a perfect opportunity for you to ask them why they don't want to go. Now, maybe some of them just be like, yeah, they just being stubborn and they just really don't want to do it. But there could also be something else as to why. Not saying that they're being molested or anything like that, but maybe that person be mean to them. Maybe they be mean to them. Maybe they just don't like them. I know it's hard to believe that family members don't like your kids or anything, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes your own family members don't even like you. That's the truth. Like, we know that that's the truth. We know that our family members don't be liking us, but because they're family, we still be hanging out with them, kicking it with them, going to the barbecues, birthdays, and everything. And then that's where I'll say we have to learn to set boundaries and learn that our happiness, if you are a parent, your children's happiness should be at the forefront. I told someone like that they're someone is a parent, and I was like, if you are not okay, there is no way that you can be okay for your kids. It's no way. I know it's like I'm a parent, I could put it all on, but the reality of it is because while you putting on and you think you're doing a good job putting on, you don't realize that they are paying attention to everything that happens. They're paying attention to it. If you are a parent, if you are parents, baby mama, baby daddy, or whatever your situation is, and you're taking care of a child and you're yelling all of the time, or you're being abusive, or you're doing any of those things, I want you to know that those children see it, feel it, see it, and feel it. That's where you have to take the time to unlearn as an adult the things that you learned from your childhood. Maybe your mother always was yelling at your father. People be like, oh, their father was yelling at their mother. Mm-mm. It's vice versa, because sometimes we don't talk about the fact that women are abusers too. We don't talk about that, but they are. And I'm a woman and I'm saying that because they are. We are, men are, everyone has experienced some kind of it. And at this point in time, I wish more people stood up and be like, the buck stop here. Not just because I'm in Milwaukee and the Bucks is, but the buck stop here. It's like I don't want it to go any further. In my life, I was like, I don't want anyone underneath me to feel like they can't talk to me. Like they don't feel comfortable talking to me. Like I want them to be able to be like, no. When I said that, I didn't think about, I grew up around I have brothers and cousins. Like I grew up around them. So I didn't think what they would be telling me. And at sometimes when they would tell me stuff, I would just be like, oh shit, I did not want to know that. But they felt comfortable enough to come and tell me that. And for me, it was like, I appreciate their comfortability with me to tell me that. And then they listen to the advice that I give them. And if you've ever dated any one of them, trust and believe I am a woman first. So there's that. I am a woman first. And I do not tolerate disrespect. I didn't just start not tolerating disrespect. I don't tolerate disrespect at all. And I allow a safe space for love. I allow a safe space for feelings and communications. Always. I will always allow a space for communication. Mainly because when I was growing up, my mother worked. Like, my mother worked. If she wasn't at work, she was at church. And if she wasn't at church, she was at work. And when I say like, that's why when we were growing up, everybody thought we was rich. I'm pretty sure if you ask my brothers, they probably thought we was rich too. That's because we had our own, we had all of the material things, but none of the emotional, motherly, none of those things. We had none of that. And it took us to be adults to actually be like, um, yeah, that shit didn't mean anything. It was cool that we had it. Now, don't get me wrong. We was definitely like, yeah, it's cool that we had it. But that's why I say with my younger brother, it's totally different because he didn't have any of the shit that we had. But you could tell the relationship is totally different. So it's like she was listening to us. It just didn't like start with us. But luckily somebody got it. Like if you're a parent and you have more than one child, I want to say after the first child, you like learn and you make mistakes or whatever. I want to say by the second one, you should kind of be like a little bit more. And if you got any more than two, you should kind of be like a fucking expert and you should be doing a YouTube and writing books and all that shit about how you handle that. They be like different kids have different personalities. And whether parents believe this or not, my mother doesn't believe this, but I'll say this. And she's probably watching this, and I'll say this. My mother loves her sons to life. She loves them. They can literally do no wrong in her eyes. She loves them. Like, it's okay. She loved them. Honestly, they told her that I was going to be a boy. I was supposed to be I as a boy, Damien. I'm not a boy. I'm a full grown woman. But they told her I was going to be a boy. So I completely understand it. You know, you go your whole pregnancy thinking you're about to have a boy, and then it's the last ultrasound and they're like, "Oh, sorry, Miss White, you're having a girl." It's I know it's kind of probably devastating for her because but in this current state of her life, I'm pretty sure that she's grateful that she has a wonderful daughter who take care of her and make sure that she has everything that she needs given our previous relationship. And I'm going to say this, right? Um I say all the time that we survived a global fucking pandemic, right? It took me unlearning that what a mother daughter relationship looked like. And it took me learning who I am and learning who my mother was and building something, whew, and building something from there, taking away my expectations of what I thought she should have did as a mother and understanding where she was at that time. And when I understood where she was at that time, it became so much more, she became human to me. And that's not to say that I didn't think that my mother was human, but I'm pretty sure you're picking up what I'm putting down. She became human to me. I understood life throws curveballs. I understood every fucking thing I ever experienced in my life. I understood it. I don't have kids, but that made me understand everything. Talking to my father, it made me understand everything. I'm not saying I'm a guru on all life shit, but I'm saying it helped me understand a lot of things. Like when I said before, do you reverence your parents in a sense that you truly love them, or are you loving them out of obligation because they are your parents? Do you truly love your brothers and sisters, cousins, grandma, grandpa, or do you love them out of obligation because they are your family and you're supposed to? I'm probably sure obligation shouldn't be there, but I'm going to say obligation because a lot of times we love people because we are supposed to. We love our mother because we are supposed to, because she brought us. Your mother ever said, "I brought you into this world, I'll take you out"? People be laughing at people that be saying that. Let me tell you what I realized. If somebody tell you something, they mean that shit. We be laughing when people be telling us, but these people be serious. And in 2022, if somebody tell you some shit, believe it. Believe it. People have no. I I really feel like if more people had conversations, we will understand how alike we are, and there will be less unaliving. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like that. I feel like people are unaliving people because they be stressed, overwhelmed, don't know what to do. Their emotions be so bottled up, they don't know how to speak or talk. And it's just like the only thing that I result to is violence or anger. And no one's encouraging people to go to therapy. Hi, I do every time. Y'all know I'll be on here talking about going to therapy all the time. I want to talk about this part of emotions, mainly because this is a topic that came up during the cooking with therapy. I was talking to one of the ladies, she's from Ethiopia, and I was sitting at the table with them, and the one lady was like, there is a stigma about African, like actual people that come from Africa and African Americans, and it's because they're taught that black people would rob them, they would lie to them, and all that just went down to different things that that they were taught that we would do. And I was just looking like, that's not the first time I heard that. Like, I've heard that a bunch of times, like talking to people. And then the lady from Ethiopia said, that is true. She said, when I got ready to come over here, of course, they come when they're young. So they got ready to come over here. She's like, that was the first thing. That was some of the first things that they taught us. And then could only find, the only places we could find to live was, um, in the inner city, like surrounded by, and I was just thinking like, it's so crazy that we are taught different things. And so then while they were talking, I said, imagine this. Maybe you can imagine this. Imagine the first time you heard gay. or the word homosexual? Because I'm pretty sure when you went to school that wasn't talking about homosexuality. I'm pretty sure they was like gay or lesbian. I'm pretty sure they was like, they didn't say homosexual. Hi, honestly, Blue. But if you think about the first time you heard homosexual, right? Think about what was said in the process of the word homosexual being talked about. Like, think about when you think about no sex before marriage. What was the first thing that came to your mind? It's like, why don't we have, for me it was, why don't we have sex before marriage, or what is marriage, or why do I even need to, what if I don't want to get married, right? So I started to talk to them, and I was like, if we think about the first time we heard the word homosexuality, the first time a lot of people hear it is when they go to church and they say God don't like gay people, or God don't like homosexuals, and it's an abomination, so God is going, you're going to burn in the lake of hell. These are not my words, because of course I'm gay, but these are some of the things that I've heard. God can deliver you. You need to change. That is wrong. And so imagine the people that have those feelings of being gay or loving or having love and affection for the same sex. Imagine how they feel on a daily basis. You probably can't imagine that, huh? Because you're not gay. But if you imagine that, imagine someone who is not of the same. Imagine having love for someone, right? We don't even got to put a sex on it. Imagine having love for someone, right? And then being told that you have to deny that love for yourself because number one, it's wrong. Number two, you need to seek forgiveness because God doesn't love that. Imagine that. Now, if you are a parent, imagine, I know we don't want to imagine this, but imagine your child coming to you and saying, Mom or Dad or Grandma, I am gay. Do you know that there are actual adults out here who have a child who comes to them and say that I am gay, and instead of embracing their child, the adult is like, I made a mistake, I messed you up, I made you gay, instead of realizing that your child just they took a huge step by telling you that they are gay. I was literally telling someone, I said, again, this is just my own opinion. I literally told someone, I said, being an adult is scary. Being a gay adult is scary, but at the same time, we don't have to we don't have to talk, we don't have to deal with people, we don't have to give a fuck about what people say or anything. We don't have to. Like, we grown, we adults, we pay our own bills or whatever. But I could not imagine being a child, especially in today's age, and being gay. Because now you got the world, you got the internet, you got your parents, you got your family members, you got literally everybody. And then you got yourself. You got yourself and everybody else in the world. And then imagine if you were at home and you hearing them call like gay people the words that they call them, or saying that, oh, that's wrong, you gonna die, it's abomination, God gonna send you. Imagine all of that. Now imagine the struggle that these people experience on a daily basis. And we don't even got to just talk about people that are gay. Like, imagine a young person like being exposed to sex at an early age, and now they are around, everybody's talking about sex, literally everywhere talking about sex, and now they're feeling pressure, but it's like, I don't want to do that. And now they're getting made fun of because they don't want to, have sex. I said, parents have a problem with people who say they are gay, right? But if they were to like say, "Ooh, this is my boyfriend," or "This is my girlfriend," it would be like, "Oh, he got a little boyfriend. Oh, she got a little." It'd be all of that. It'd be all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be, "Ooh, let me take y'all a picture. Homecoming. Ooh, let me take y'all a picture. Look at my baby. He cute with his little girlfriend, and she cute with her little boyfriend." But I get it. I'm gonna tell y'all what I had a conversation. I said, I get it. I get it. Parents don't want their kids to be gay. I get it. I get it. Parents don't even understand what it's like to be, what it means for them to say that they're gay. I get it when parents be like, "You young, you don't know what you want yet." I get it. I get it when parents be like, they're young, they need to figure out what they want to do with their life. And this is where I say this, right? Imagine if more people had the options at a younger age to explore their sexuality, explore the things that they wanted to do in life. Imagine that, right? Think about all the fucking adults that are out here still struggling, trying to figure out who the fuck they are because they didn't have that option when they were younger. Think about all the grown ass men out here who got 15, 11 kids, not that really that many, by multiple different women because they weren't allowed to be like, you know what, I'm in love with this one, or I love, this is what I love, this is what I want. They're constantly on a search to find that perfect woman, not realizing that each one of those people that they are with, they are taking pieces of or leaving pieces in. And now there's a whole community of people out here who don't have fathers, or some cases who don't have mothers. Imagine that. Imagine what it would be like if we talked to each other. Imagine what it'd be like if parents started to actually love their children. Imagine that. You're like, no, I love my children. Do you actually love your child? Or do you feel obligated to take care of them because you brought them here? I know obligation probably isn't the word that I should put there, but that's what I have so far. If you have a different word, feel free to type it in the chat. I feel like that's what we do. I only got to take care of you till you're 18. But the reality of it is as my mother or as my father or a sibling or someone that I love, I am going to look out for you. I tell my brothers all the time, I say, I refuse. I refuse to have the knowledge and not share it with you and have you walking around here. I refuse. Oh. I'm sorry, I refuse to not share the knowledge or the information that I have. I refuse. That's just me. I'm not gonna know that I can help you or I see you going down the fucking road, especially if I've been down that road already. Oh no, I'm gonna tell you, hey, you're gonna get 2 blocks up and it's gonna be a brick wall. I mean, a brick wall for a loan. It's gonna be like the walls of Jericho wall. You don't wanna go that way. I'm gonna tell you, but if you go 1 block up and go to the left and go to the right, yeah, 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 that that part. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm reading the comments. That part, I will definitely tell you. Like I tell people all the time, like people was like, why do you start talking? Why did you start talking about being gay? Because there's this stigma that you can't be gay and love God. Now y'all know how I feel about God, but listen, there's a stigma that you can't be gay. Like if you gay, you can't love God. It's like God loves all people, right? And that's what it is. You can still be gay and love God and God love you back. You can still do that. I know you might have religious people telling you all the time, your mama, everybody probably telling you like you need to get delivered. I'm going to tell you this. You have to build a relationship with your deity, whoever he or she or whatever you believe in. You have to build a relationship. That's number one. Because number two, if you grow up in any organized religion, I'm glad I remembered to say this. If you grew up in any organized religion, they will have you thinking that shit don't stink. And if you're watching this and you are in an organized religion, that is no knock to your religion, but I'm going to tell you why. Because if everybody has heard the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and if you haven't, I'm pretty sure you have heard some form of it as to why God don't like gay people, right? People say God was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because they were gay. And I was telling someone this and they didn't believe me. Now, I did grow up in church and I did read the Bible from Genesis to Exodus, all 66 books. And I actually went and got the concordance, all of the different languages that is, I studied. So here we have the story. We have Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And they're like, oh yeah, those people in the city was gay because they told the angel to come out and so that we can know them. And I was like, no, y'all clearly don't read the story. That's why I say we be passing shit down. We just keep passing shit. We keep oral traditions. We keep speaking shit, and people don't go and research. They don't go and fact check. They just repeat it because it's like you the preacher, you the pastor, you the speaker. So why would you say something that's not in the Bible? They do the shit all the time. But we're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah right now. This is why you need to learn. This is something that you probably need to learn and something you need to unlearn. You need to unlearn and learn. Now, back to the Sodom and Gomorrah story. Then they talk about Lot and they talk about his wife turning a pillar of salt, right? But they never give you the backstory to how it even got that the angels were even in Sodom and Gomorrah to get Lot and his wife out. They never tell you about that. Have you ever heard about that? Have you heard about that? Do you even know the story? If you don't, pay attention because I'm about to tell you. So, as an avid reader, I read it and I was reading, and before it even got to Sodom and Gomorrah, before it even got there, before we even know that that was the name of the city, Jesus was there, and Jesus was like, y'all people is not, I'm going to say it in Jesus' words. What they said, it was Jesus' word, because they say everything in the red is Jesus' word. He said, I hate the day that I created man. Again, he hates the day that he created man. This is God, Jesus, we're talking about. He said this multiple times in the Bible. If you don't know, you should definitely read it. He said, I hate the day that I created man because they are unkind to the poor. They are unkind to the sick. He listed what they were. And he said, you know what? Like he did back when he told Noah he's going to destroy it. He said, I'm going to destroy it. And y'all know Abraham. Do you know Abraham? If you don't know Abraham, let me tell you about Abraham. Abraham was like, yo, Jesus, I have a nephew that lives down in Sodom and Gomorrah. He was like, what if I found, I think it was like 100,000. Then it was like, it came all the way down to 10,000. And then it was like, he bargained. Abraham is real life bargaining with God. Like, what if I found 10,000 people that'll love you and serve you, and that'll show you that they're grateful for your creation. What if I did that? And Jesus is like, okay, cool. And then I guess Abraham must have thought about it. Was like, no, them people ain't even like, they ain't rocking like that. They ain't rocking like, okay, how about 1,000? And Jesus is like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. And then Abraham was like, nah, I think, what about 100? Let me figure out 100. Now, if you don't believe me, go read the Bible. It's in there. You could Google it right now. It's in there. Abraham bargained with God. And then he was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep it real, God. Let me just get my nephew and his wife and his daughters up out of there, and we're going to be good. And Jesus was like, are you sure? Is that what you want? And he was like, yeah. So Jesus sent the angels down there. It's like, hey, go get Lot and his wife and tell him don't look back, because I'm about to destroy the whole thing. And then you fast forward to the today's day and age, and it was like, oh, Jesus destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because they was gay. And you know what that does? That instills fear in people, because it's like, God destroyed a whole city because they was gay. That's why you shouldn't be gay. And it's like, wait, what? How many times did you hear about Jesus talk about gay people in the Bible? I'll wait. But how many times did you hear Jesus talk about sin? Again, I'll wait. How many times did you hear people? I mean, it's so many different things that Jesus talked about, but we don't really talk about the things that Jesus talked about, because we talk about the things that are convenient for us to talk to people about. That's why we have to unlearn to learn. People be like, oh, the Bible is basic instructions for leaving earth, or the Quran, or whatever you read. I would encourage you to actually read it. If you actually read it, and you will understand the stories and the analogies and the poems and everything like that. And it's just like, me as a gay person, I read the Bible, okay? I'm going to tell you, I read it. There are so many different stories in the Bible that you could use to say, this is homosexuality and this is why Jesus doesn't like it. There's so many stories that you could use. You could use David and Jonathan, because David definitely was gay. I know you probably like, no, he not gay because he was a king and all of this. He definitely gay. The man who had the Bible commission, gay. Listen, we ain't here to talk about gay stuff, but I'm here to tell you this, right? It is important for you to read. It is important for you to learn for yourself. You ever grow up in a situation and then you get older and you be like, these motherfuckers done lied to me the whole entire time. And now, instead of you be like, you know what, I know you lied, or you address the fact that there was a lie, you just keep going with the lie. That's why I say, like, I wish we had more people who had the courage to stand up against shit. Stand up against it. Stand up against our parents telling our kids that they ugly, they gonna be big as a house, or they not smart, or they bad, or stand up against people that talk shit about our kids. Like, stand up for your actual fucking kids. If men were just to be like, listen, I'm not rocking with this straight out the gate. I think if more people just be straight out the gate and be like, listen, I just want to fuck and that's it. But you know the reality of it is you can't just smash somebody. I know people. I know you're probably looking at this right now, like, yeah, I could just smash whatever, but you can't because we are energetic beings and our energies be intertwined, and that's why you be like, I'm gonna just have an adult situation with this person, and then you see that person at the grocery store, and then you with your person, and they with their person, and then when y'all link up for y'all sneaky link, you like, hey, that shit is dead, and you like, what shit is dead? And they like the person you been out with, oh, that's dead. That's because them intertwined energies is like, nah, it's not gonna happen. You ever be with somebody and they got a baby mama, a baby daddy, and I know people be joking about this all the time, but I feel like there are some strong intertwining energies, and mainly because y'all produce life together. I'm not saying that everybody who has a baby by somebody is cheating. I will say that there has been multiple cases of people who have always had a sneaky link with their baby mama, baby daddy. I mean, you know, old and young. We not talking about just the little people, like the young people. We talking about older people too. Think about your granddaddy who had 15 kids in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Granddaddy Papa was a rolling stone. Anyways, if more people talked about anything, everything. Again, I wish men would have a group, not these fucking podcasts where it's like what you bring into the table and all that shit. No, no, no. I think men need to have real serious conversations. Like, what was it like to not, how did you feel not having your father in your household? Like, that's a real fucking conversation. How did you feel growing up without a father? Especially, this is why I be talking to my brothers, right? I be want to know, not just my brothers, but people in general. Let me tell you two people I love to talk to: men who grew up without their fathers, and guys who grow up, who, like, as they growing up, they players, the players, the ones that be having girlfriends, they be out here macking and all that stuff. I be want to know, and because those are the guys that usually turn out and have like 2 or 3 daughters. And now I want to know what you're going to be like as a father, because you think about it, you think like you was running through any and everything. Like, now, so what are you going to tell your daughter? Or are you going to be that father to be like, I wish a motherfucker would? How is it gonna play out? Are you gonna be the father that be like, you know what, hey baby, listen, let me tell you what the dudes are looking for, or even let me tell you what the girls are looking for. Let me tell you about the game. Is that gonna be you? Or are you gonna be like, I wish a motherfucker would? Or are you gonna be sitting at home now, you thinking, look, you scratching your head like, damn, my baby is getting older and she gonna be dating. Cause whether you believe it or not, they are dating. We live in we live in an age where they have access to everything. So they are dating. I'm the type of person where I tell someone, I was like, if I would rather know what my niece or nephew or what my person or my family member preferred, so that I could be, I could be that support system, I'm not one of those people to be like, now, I'm not out here be like, oh yeah, just go and do that. No, I'm not doing like that. I'm the one that's gonna tell you all the precautions, to be safe, to understand nobody should be putting their hands on you. Nobody. Whether they say they love you or not, nobody should be putting their hands on you. I used to say, if they're not sexual, but listen, nobody should be putting their hands on you. The moment anybody put their hands on you, there is a number that you can call. Now, people would be like, you shouldn't tell people to call 911. They get paid to handle people that don't know how to keep their hands to themselves. Most people grow up in situations where that was what they saw in their household, so that's like, okay, that's cool. I mean, he loved me because he do that, or she loved me. And again, I'm saying him and her because sometimes we don't talk, we talk about the him all the time, but we don't talk about the girls, and especially, or the ladies, especially because like, it's a man, it's like, oh, I can't tell people I'm getting abused at home, but men get abused too. If we start talking more, We'll talk about the chicks we smash. We'll talk about the niggas' monies. We'll talk about all of that. But we need to have more serious conversations. If parents got together and be like, hey, listen, I noticed that you are, I don't have kids. Let me tell you, I don't have kids, but I understand that there is something called postpartum depression. And it happens after a woman has a child. I believe that's when it happens. So I started paying attention when I noticed that people are having kids and they seem to like go if there's a little space. I'm not gonna say little in the sense of like literally little, but there's a space after the baby is born. And if more parents, more people, I don't have kids, but I was able to recognize that there is something going on and you probably need to talk to someone. So I feel like if more people who have kids or who, even if you haven't experienced postpartum depression, but you felt some kind of way after you had a baby, maybe you didn't feel beautiful. Maybe you didn't feel worthy. Maybe you didn't feel yourself. I feel if more people had discussions, more people talked about shit like that, rather than talking about who's sleeping with who or girl, you know, she just lost. If more people did that, had those kind of conversations, like community, like when I was growing up, there was so much. I know people be like, we don't need to have those things, but I appreciated being able to go and talk to somebody about shit like that. Like I appreciated having a godmother who actually cared about me. I was going through some of the toughest shit in my life. And I appreciated having a godmother. She stood up for me every fucking time when I needed her to, even when I didn't fucking need her to. She stood up for me. That's another thing we should talk about. If you a parent and you delegating godparents for your kids, don't just get anybody. Don't just get people because they got money. Don't get people just because they was your friend for 15, 20 years. Get somebody that you know, one, that's going to actually fucking care about your child. They going to love your child as they own. And two, I know it's like, oh, you got to teach them about God, but get somebody that's solid in themselves, right? Because somebody that's solid in themselves is going to teach them the two greatest commandments, which is love God and love theirself. If I love you like I love me and I love y'all like I love me, I'm not going to be here lying to y'all. I don't want to kill y'all. I don't want to do any of that to y'all. So I don't want you to do it to me. So I'm not going to do that to y'all. That's like, since it's not common, right? But people pick godparents because they be buying, oh, they dress fly. So I'm going to make sure they didn't, my baby godmama. And they don't even have the first clue as to how to handle any kind of situations. So now you just out here like, your baby just out here like, what? Think about godparents now. Like, do they even get the kids? Do they spend time with the kids? Bless you. Do they do anything like that? You right, they are dating. They are dating 12 elementary school. I'm telling you, like, sex is literally everywhere. You might not think about it. It's like, my baby don't know nothing. If they watch music videos, if they are on social media, you know that a large majority of the people that are on social media shouldn't even have a social media account, but they there. And their parents don't even monitor it. They think it's cute. That's how them predators be getting to them. And I'm not just talking about people that you don't know. I'm talking about the people that you be kicking it with all the time. They be knowing your my baby stepdaddy, this stepmama. Because we don't talk about women and they abusing nature. We don't talk about that. We definitely don't talk about. Let's unlearn the fact that it's just men that commit crimes. That commit crimes against women. It's not just men. It's anybody. Anybody. Preachers, teachers, basketball coaches, volleyball coaches. It's mailmen. It's aunties, uncles, grandpas, it's sisters and brothers. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that because what happens here stays here. And then we create cycles of people feeling like, okay, I want to be in a relationship, but I can't because now my uncle or my brother or my family member has a close attachment to me and they don't want to see me with anybody. You ever notice like when you were growing up and there was always older men around or older women? Like they don't talk about the older women. Oh, I'm gonna tell y'all. You definitely need to start. People definitely need to start talking to each other. Definitely. You you ever have a conversation with somebody and they be like, I was with so and so, and then you ever, I'm sure you heard this, right? There was a friend talking to her friend about her man, and then next thing you know, the friend done slept with the man, and now they beefing, and it's just like, well, you just basically told her. Now that didn't give her permission to go over there and do what she did, but you basically told her you have the most amazing thing in the world. So now you have the most amazing thing in the world. They feel like they are entitled to have that too. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants to be rich and famous. Everybody wants to be happy. So why can't I have that? And then it just be like, if we talked about it, right? If we talk about, okay, or you ever like somebody in high school and you like send your friend over there to start talking to them, and then they come back and now them and the person is in relationship. So many different things. Like even with relationships, right? I was thinking, ever since I was young and I grew up in church, all they talked about was marriage, 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 marriage. No kids out of wedlock, marriage. Gotta be married, married, married. And I always used to think to myself, like, I didn't want kids. I didn't want kids. I did want kids at one point in time in my life, but growing up, I knew I wasn't gonna have no kids, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I knew if that at any time any one of the children ever said anything to me about like giving any of the shit that I went through, oh, it's over. It would just be over. That's all I'm gonna say is it would just be over. Because number one, it's a no for me. People do shit to kids all the time and just be thinking like, oh, that kids, they don't think about that. That shit sticks with kids. I be telling people, if you discipline your child, if you whoop your child, think about this. If you're a parent and you whoop your child, think about this. What is your mood when you're whooping them? You're not happy. You're not like, oh yeah, I'm about to discipline you. You're not happy. You're either irritated, you're angry, or you're frustrated. And in those moments, you are not thinking straight. You're not. I know you probably think like, I'm going to whap him twice, and then you ended up whapping him twice, and then you hit him in the wrong direction. You hit them in the wrong direction, or they move and you hit something that you shouldn't have. You see what I'm saying? And then if you think about it, like you whooped the child, but you didn't even tell them what they did because you automatically, I know you got to whoop them before you be like, you know what you did? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not playing dumb either. I just don't know. It would be helpful if like, so this is what I'm gonna tell you. I learned the game. I learned it real fast. I got one whooping in my life. After that, it was like, we gonna talk about this. They didn't have to talk to talk to me. I was like, we gonna talk about this because I need to know why you whooping me and why you feel that it is important for you to discipline me in the form of whooping rather than just telling me like, hey, don't do that. I was one of those kids that learned from examples. They'd be like, oh, I don't learn. I learn hands on. I had to learn by example. I knew that skipping school, I knew I wasn't gonna do that. Inviting people over late night, I knew I wasn't gonna do that. I just got real skilled and just did it in the morning where I knew. Anyways, but those kind of things. And then hold on. As parents, this is what I want to talk about. You got to remember that at one point, I'm not a parent, and you probably like, why do you talk about parents or shit? Because somebody should be talking about it. But listen, at one point in time, you was a teenager. Now, if you think about that, you think about how you were at a teenager. Maybe you used to sneak out at night. Maybe you used to sneak your boyfriend or girlfriend in. Maybe you used to say you going to spend the night at somebody else's house, but you knew that you was actually going somewhere else. Maybe you used to do all of that stuff, right? Now, put yourself in the mind of your child. Wouldn't you as a parent want your child to feel comfortable enough to come and talk to you about those kind of things, or you still want them to go and do the sneaky shit? I would think as a parent in 2022, you would want your child to feel comfortable to come and tell you like, hey, I want to know if I can bring my boyfriend over. Not to spend no night. No, I'm not telling you not to do no spending nights. I'm not telling you to do that. But so at least you know who they are. Because people are dating people. They don't even know who they are. They be dating grown ass men, grown ass women, and we don't be. Sometimes it be our friends. Cause I know some people who dated their mama friends or their daddy friend. Listen. You might not think this shit is happening, but it's really happening. We need to start talking to our family members more. And I'm not just going to say parents talk to their kids. I'm going to say talk to your sisters and brothers too, because people be going through shit. Maybe you grew up in a household where people was touching each other. And now you just think that that's cool. Like, I use this analogy all the time, right? I say, if I grew up in a community full of thieves, right? And then I say I go to college, right? And I go to the store with one of my friends and I'm getting ready to steal. And it's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to put this in my pocket. And they're like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't have to steal. If you want it, I'll buy it for you. And then I started to see, wait, I don't have to steal? No, because my grandmother, mother, everybody steal, right? So now my eyes are open, like I have an option. I don't have to steal. I could either work hard to get it or I could ask for it, or, there's so many other options. But now I done learned that I don't have to steal. I've learned this. So I'm going back to my community, the place where I grew up, and it's like, we don't have to steal. And now the first thing they're going to say is, oh, you think you better. Like, where does that come from? You think you better. Are you better than us? We've been doing this for years now. You going to try to tell us how to live? And you're only sharing the knowledge that you don't have to do that. You want to think outside of what you grew up. It's okay. You need to unlearn the things that you learned and learn. Like, think about if you had your heart broken, right? Think about the first time. I know you probably don't want to think about it, but think about the first time you had your heart broken. What was the first thing you said after that? Was it something like, I'm never going to allow a motherfucker to do that to me again? Or was it something like, oh, I'm never going to get hurt again. I'm out here playing with everybody. Like, it was probably something along those lines. But think about this, right? Think about that first hurt and think about where you are right now. How many times you got hurt? You're probably in a situation right now you really don't even want to be in, but you in it because you got in it. And you don't know how to get out. You don't know that you have the option of looking at that person and be like, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. I just need some time to go and figure out what I want. You could say that. And then if you're in a situation and you know that it is a volatile situation, you probably can't say that, because then that person will react in a way that we don't want them to. We don't want them to do that. So in that case, you need to get some assistance from somebody who handles people like that. Don't stay in a situation where you are uncomfortable. Don't stay in a situation where you are unhappy. Don't stay in a situation just because that person supported you through whatever you've been through. Don't even do that. I know that's where we feel obligated. Like, we feel like, oh man, because they was with me when I was. No, that's a level of obligation where we feel like we're supposed to do that. If you are unhappy, leave. I say this about jobs. People be saying, man, I don't even like this job. I'm just going for the money. But it's like your talents that you could do. Maybe you paint. Maybe you write rhymes or jingles or poems. Or maybe you are fucking whatever you are. And you really want to do that. But because you need a paycheck, you're going to go to this job. And you know this job treating you like shit. They ain't paying you what you work. But you're going to still go. Why? For money. On my list to say people choose money over health. We need to unlearn that money is more important than our health. Money is more important than time. Because none of that shit you can get back. Your health, you can work 40 hours a week and get sick one time, and guess what? Your job is in jeopardy now. You don't believe me? You can call in. You could be working for 15, 25, 10 years straight. There every time, going above and beyond, and you miss one time, and now you're undependable. Is that what it is? Undependable? You're not dependable. There you go. They'll call somebody with the quickness, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling better now. It's like, oh no, we switch it to another shift because they found somebody to work. And you just sitting over there like, this job, every day you wake up and you tell yourself, this job don't respect me. They don't appreciate me. They don't care what I do for them. The reality of it is they don't. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Another thing we need to unlearn. We need to unlearn failure. When you think about failure, right, do you think it's positive? Do you think like, oh yeah, I failed. Are you happy? I'll probably be the first person in life to say this, but you should be happy. You know why you should be happy? Because you have the opportunity to start over. Like, okay, that shit didn't work. You take what worked and what didn't work and the growth that you, because every time we in a situation and it don't work, it fail, we learn something. I see everything in my life that I went through as a lesson, and it taught me. Our real life was telling someone this yesterday, actually. I said, every fucking thing that happened to me in the last 2 years of my life, I needed them to happen. I needed them. I didn't need them like, oh, please send it to me, but I needed them to happen because I needed them to spark what is sparked in me. Or I would have still been comfortable. I would have still been comfortable. I'm not even going to jack to you. I would have been comfortable. I would have been okay where I was. I would have. Because I know how to be complacent. I would have been okay. But knowing the entire time, I knew it was a destination that I really wanted to get to. But I was okay because, I kind of made it. I kind of accomplished everything I set out to do in life. But currently, I'm in the process of really doing literally everything. I'm shocking myself. I'm shocking myself at times. But I'm literally able to do everything. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to Saturday Night Vibes, but when I sing now, there's no reservations, there's no hesitations. It's it's freedom. Unlearning shit that you learned, like you learn shit in your family, you learn shit from church, you learn shit from like so many different places. But if no one teaching you how to properly compartmentalize that shit, you just got a bunch of education, a bunch of resources, but no idea how to use them. We need to unlearn. Like if you experience some traumatic shit and then you start doing shit to be like, okay, I'm gonna protect myself. I'm gonna make sure that this shit don't happen again, or I'm gonna make sure I never put myself in a compromising situation again. Now you have learned coping mechanisms, and your life is a bunch of coping mechanisms so that you don't be hurt again. Not realizing that you gonna get hurt again. Now you just got a bunch of coping mechanisms, and at the end of the day, when you get to the point where you have to go on a journey of healing and self discovery, you might be thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna deal with what just happened in the last 2 years. For me, it took me all the way back to the age of 8. Actually, it went back further, but the most significant part where it all started for me, like my life was like a shit show, was 8. And it took me back there. And not only did it take me back there, it took me back there and it walked me through each and every situation, every smell, every sound, every location. It took me back and it walked me all the way here to let me know that I am okay, I was okay, and I will be okay. It let me know that. I wasn't thinking every day like, yeah, I'm just gonna be. One day I kept telling myself, one day I'm gonna be in a point where I have no fear and I'm not afraid to fail, and I will be confident in every fucking room that I walk in. And right now, I sit before you a confident, light, love, and positivity person. I told y'all 2 years ago, I'm going to be light, love, and positivity. And at the time when I said it, I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, but I knew. I started meditating. I started juicing. I started working out. I started just focusing on nothing but positive shit. And when I tell you I started focusing on nothing but positive shit, it seemed like shit was just finding its way to me all the time. And it was just like a test. I'm going to say it was a test of the emergency broadcast. What the fuck you going to do, system? It was only a test. And so many times I wanted to just like, wild out and just be like, I know motherfuckers just don't know. But then I started to think like, I would be doing it every time some shit happened. Like when you start growing, you start thinking more. Like, think about this, right? You ever been angry before? Been angry before? Now think about the next time you got angry. Was you still on the same level as it was before? Think about this, right? What if when you got angry, you just, why the fuck am I angry? What about this made me angry? And then you think about what made you angry, and then you start to really think like, damn, I don't even know why the fuck I was mad. I don't even know why the fuck. Like if you, I'm not laughing because of this, but if you ask people why they cheated, they don't have no idea of why they cheated. They'll tell you like, oh, because you wasn't doing this, you wasn't doing that. The reality of it is they don't even know why they cheated. They just did it. They just thought about the moment and was like, oh yeah, this would be fun. And doop. Because, like, while it's happening, like before it's happening and while it's happening, they ain't got no guilt. Guilt ain't nowhere in their mind. It ain't nowhere around. But then when they do it, then they be like, damn, I fucked up. And then, some people, we don't want to take accountability for our actions instead of us just being like, hey, babe, I fucked up. We be like, did you? Nah, I ain't do that. Then, I'm going to tell you, we live in a digital fucking age. And if y'all ain't been paying attention, I don't know if y'all watching that shit on Twitter, right? We live in a digital fucking age, and everybody be keeping receipts right now. Everybody screenshot, video record, all that shit is everywhere. So listen, I be trying to tell y'all to be careful out here because you never know. People just out here. We need to unlearn hurt people. That's a big thing we need to unlearn. And I say that because in my mind, since it's not common sense, if I'm hurt, let me go heal or let me go fix myself so that I don't cause you to feel the same things that I'm feeling. That's something I'm really big on. I don't want you to feel any of that. No, it's a no. It's a no for me. I don't want you to feel heartbreak. I don't want you to feel disappointment. I think about those people who grew up in households where their mother would tell them that their father was going to come and get them, right? And so they spent so much time waiting for their father or their mother or waiting for somebody to come, and they never fucking came. Can you imagine the level of disappointment that person has? Now listen, their disappointment that they have for their father, it's not even going to exist because they're going to have so much that makes them love the person even more. Right? They will distrust everybody around them, but not the person who did it to them, right? I talked about betrayal blindness a couple of weeks ago, and it was like when your parents, like if you are 18 or you're 30 or whatever you are, you're fixing your credit and you're like, what the fuck is this phone bill? What the fuck is this electric bill in my name? Like, that is a form of blind betrayal. I know you're probably like, no, because you weren't old enough to have something in your name, and then it got in your name, and then of course people don't pay the bills. They don't think to pay the bills. Oh, that was years ago. You should forget about that. But it's on your credit score. You can't get that house or that car you want because you got to pay a bill from when you was 2.5 years old, and nobody thought to think they were 2.5 years old, but now you got to pay that bill. Your money ain't long like that just yet. So now you like, do I file a fraud case against my parents or do I just eat that? And 9 times out of 10 people just eat it because it's like, oh, they my parents, and we did have lights and we did have phone. But the reality of it is they did something that was illegal, and they are causing you harm. And you're probably like, how is that harm? Because now you are unable to provide for yourself because of something that you had no clue that was even going on. I had that happen to me once. Somebody put a phone bill in my name, and I was like, wait, I work for the damn phone company, and it's a no for me. I knew not to get a phone, and I knew that. So I quickly called and disputed. You could dispute shit. Not even just in business sense, but I'm talking about in your family. Like, you can dispute the fact that you have to go to every, I'm not telling you, wait, let me say this. I am not telling you not to spend time with your family. I'm not. But in the same breath that I just said that, if you know that your family brings you some kind of anxiety or it causes you to feel some kind of way that is not happy, that is not free, that is not at peace, that is not loved, you don't have to subject yourself to that. You don't. We have to unlearn that. We have to tolerate or deal with people because they are family members. If they treating you like shit, you don't have to talk to them. You don't. I know somebody won't tell you that because they be like, oh, that's just your mama. You know that's how grandma is. You know that's how. No, you don't have to deal with that. You don't. People won't tell you that because they be like, oh, it's just your family. You're just supposed to accept it. No, fuck that. Your mama and daddy talk to you like shit. Your brothers and sisters talk to you like shit. And then you get in a relationship with somebody and then you want them to treat you right. You don't even know what right is. Because all you've been treated was like shit. And then you have somebody nice that's loving you to come along and they want to take you on trips, and they want to do everything, buy you flowers. They want to see how your day been. They want to see how your week was. They want to ask you all of the important questions that people should be asking you, and you just like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? No, they weird and they got all these different things, but in reality, you don't even understand love. You think love is people buying you shit, or you think love is people doing shit for you. You know, they have like the love languages and all that shit. Like, that's cool and all. But if you don't even speak to me, if you don't speak to me, like if you don't even know, like I'm pretty sure y'all been watching, y'all kind of know who I am. And I just put kind of because maybe you haven't watched all of my videos, or maybe you haven't been here that often. But if you know me, you know who I am. You know my, you know me. Not you know of me, but you know me. So if someone's to say, "Oh, Chelle, did you?" If you really know me, you would just be like, "That ain't. It's not. It's no." I had a situation happen to me. Right. This is where people need to unlearn hopping on the bandwagons, or they need to unlearn believing what other people say. That's why I say you need to get to know people. You ever have a friend that be like, "Oh, you need to stop talking to so and so because I don't talk to them anymore." I've never been one of those type of people. Never have, never will be. I like to get to know people for myself. Once I get to know you, if you do, then I'm like, okay, cool. But 9 times out of 10, I just keep saying 9 times out of 10. Let's say 8 times out of 20, whatever. The person, you just had bad blood. You just don't know how to be respectful to other people's time. That was just you and them. For me, I'm not. It's a no. I'm not gonna don't hop on the bandwagon. I won't do that. As a situation happened to me, and I thought I was like, I should say something, and then I was just like, no, because this is no. That's when you get older and you start growing and you start realizing that everything doesn't deserve your time, your energy, your breath. Everything doesn't deserve that. And I realized that in that moment, y'all see what happened? I smile. In that moment, I realized how much I have grown. I got to a point where I was like, motherfuckers just be straight testing and trying. I ain't no killer, but don't push me. I'm not a killer. I don't do none of that shit. But it's just like, there's only so much you could just poke and pry. And then it's like, especially I realize that I have this thing when people say I do shit that I don't do. And it's like, that's not me. That's not me. Anybody who knows me know that's not me. Is not me. But hey, if it's popular and all the popular the cool kids is talking about it, people hop on it. For me, at the end of the day, it's about learning who a person is. Notice I said learn to unlearn, but there is learn and there is unlearn in there. Sometimes we got to learn that our friends and families are bullies. They're bullies. You probably don't want to admit it, but they're a bully. They bully you every time. They make you feel guilty because you don't do shit. And now you sitting at home like, man, I feel guilty. But the entire time they made you feel like shit. And then if you are a parent and you are subjecting your child to that shit. If you know that your family don't like you, why would you even take your child over there? I know you like, oh, I want them to have a grandma. I want them to be family oriented. Because a lot of people be wanting people to be family oriented. But it's like, people don't even know what the fuck a family is. Like, they don't know. There's like, yeah, that's my mama, but she talks to me like I'm shit, and she treat me like I'm shit, and she don't respect me at all. But, maybe she'll be different with my child. Or maybe she won't. Or maybe she'll do the same thing that she did to you, to your child. Maybe worse. Who knows? We don't know. Some other things. I talked about failure. We need to unlearn failure as a negative thing. The thing I realized about failing is it's necessary. Failing is necessary. It's necessary. It's a part of the. It's a necessarily. It's a necessary part of the process. I don't even know. My tongue just started. It's a necessary part of the process. You ever go through life and like everything is just peaches and cream, and then something horrible happened, and like it seemed like your world is just rocked, like, oh my God, what the fuck am I gonna do now? And then you start to really think like, oh no, I've been here before. Our real life was like failure is definitely a part of the process. When I got when I got divorced or when I had a breakup, you're filled with that like, man, I really did everything I could. Man, this is you go through all of these fucking emotions and you're just like, no, I needed this to happen. Like, let me put it on a put it on a big wall or put it on my ceiling, whatever you do. I put it on my ceiling. I lay in my bed and I put it on my ceiling and I like mind map and organize shit and just be like, damn, damn. I learned from failure that I am a fighter. I learned that. I learned that I will fight until there is nothing left to fight. It could be the thinnest line, and I'm still gonna fight for that thin fucking line. And it could be burning. You set something on fire, and it could be burning, and I'm still trying to fight to grab it. And then I woke up one day and was like, you know what? I have to learn when to stop fighting. I had to learn when to stop fighting. I had to learn when to let go, and has been that has been one of the hardest things about this journey. Because when you get people in your heart and then you have to let them go. Because you be kicking it with people and you feel like they will be there forever. They're going to be there forever. Y'all technically married, but with no paper. And then when you have to let them go and you're growing or you're moving on and you're growing up in life and you just changing and it's like you don't want to be surrounded by the same thing. You have to learn to let shit go. That was one of the hardest things that I learning to let shit go and resting. That's another thing we need to learn. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take mental health days. I took a mental health day the other day. They called us like Chelle. I said I'm not doing anything today. I'm sitting in my bed, just laying here. I'm just allowing my body time to just rejuvenate, just laying there. I got my meditation music, just laying there. You're interrupting my mental health day. Okay, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. Maybe try calling me the next day after that, because I think I'm gonna take 2 days now, but you definitely should take mental health days. And I'm not talking about taking mental health days just to go to shopping and turn up, whatever. Just take some time to yourself. I feel like more people need to know that it's okay to take time to yourself. Take yourself to a movies or dinner or lunch or brunch or go grab a coffee or just go for a walk. Hug a fucking tree. Have you hugged a tree? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I hugged a tree. And I'm not gonna say I know the tree didn't fucking hug me back, but I literally felt like energy. Like I felt a surge of energy. And it was the wildest thing ever. Wildest. When I tell you, it was the wildest thing ever. You should do that. Walk in the grass now. Make sure there's no dog poop in your grass. But walk in the grass with your shoes off. Ground yourself. Maybe you don't believe in smudge or crystals. Maybe you don't believe in the Bible, but meditate. Just sit in silence. Sit in silence. Sit with your thoughts. If you don't like something, no, figure out why you don't like it. Don't If you don't want to go somewhere, don't just go because so and so gonna be there. Don't go. Do the opposite of everything you would normally do. That's what I've been doing. I'm gonna tell you, I've been having a blast. Unlearning shit and learning new things. When I started to walk on this journey of healing and self-discovery from the age of 8, I had to unlearn a lot of shit. I had to unlearn when I was younger, I used to go to people's houses for slumber parties, right? I figured out to lay by the creakiest spot on the floor. Now, this is something that I learned because I was molested at a young age, but I learned to sleep by the creakiest spot in the floor because I know that everybody wake up when the floor creak. Now, unless you're one of them super deep sleepers, but everybody wake up when the floor creak. And I had to learn that I am okay. I am in a safe space. I had to learn, like, it is okay. Like, not that shit was going on was okay, but I had to learn that I was okay. Like, I was okay. I literally said, A couple of weeks ago, I went to church. And if you know me, if you watch the videos, you know why I have this thing with church. But I went to church, and for the first time in 42 years of my life, or all my years of going to church, I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel nervous. Wasn't looking over my shoulder. I just felt peace. I felt calm. I felt cool. And so I held that in. I didn't tell anybody. And then I came and I talked on the podcast like I'm doing right now. The realization of what happened while I was talking on the podcast. And it was like, that was the first time in my life that I went to church and I didn't feel that. That's why I be talking to people, and most people be talking to me and they just be like, oh girl, you just need to give it to God and all this shit, but they don't even be knowing. They don't know. They don't take the time to know. They probably heard whispers, but they never even took the time to say, let me ask you. I'm the type of person to be like, let me ask you. Like, I just asked somebody 3 questions. I said, I'm gonna ask 3 questions. I try to keep it to them 3 questions, but sometimes, you ask a question and then somebody give you an answer and that stems another question. I think people should start asking more questions. I think they should. I think parents, when, when their child, because I'm going to say this, right? If you're a parent, you know if your child is gay or not. You know. I know you probably be praying the gay away, like, oh, Jesus, don't let them be gay. I know you're probably praying that. But the reality of it is they are gay. If you stop resisting the fact that you know that they are gay and you start paying more attention to how you can love them, to let them know that you love them and then you support them. And I know people's like, I'm supposed to support my child being gay. Yes, I know other people will be like, no, you don't support your child being gay. I'm going to say yes. Because if your child liked the opposite sex, you will be supporting that all day long. You will be dropping them off at the movies, dropping them off at the mall. You will be doing all of that. Support your fucking kids. Because if you don't, somebody will, and it won't be the right person supporting them. And if you don't believe me, just look at the fucking news. Look at social media. There is this YouTube channel. And at first I was like, why would you do a YouTube channel like this? But now I think about it, I am grateful because every fucking day, it seems like every fucking day, it's probably at least 3 times a fucking week, there is somebody being unalived by their significant other. And now it's at a point where they just not unaliving the opposite person. They are unaliving the kids. Kids have shit to do with adult situations. But because adults don't take the time to heal from their shit, it spills over to everybody else. You see why it's important for us to unlearn, or learn to unlearn, and unlearn to learn? You can flip that either way you want to. But it's important for us to do that. A lot of the shit that we experience in our life, we need to unlearn that. That person that was calling you out your name and telling you dumb and stupid, that is not who you are. It was just that person have issues that they were putting onto you. You ever try to accomplish something and you were like, man, I got a business I want y'all to support, and then you looking at, and I see this all the time. People be like, my own family and friends won't support you. Let me tell you another thing about the Bible, right? Jesus was not even received by the people that was at the church. He's Jesus. He's the reason why they fucking have the church. They didn't receive him. He would be out in the street with the pimps, the prostitutes, the lepers. He would be out in the streets with all of them, amongst all of them. And they loved him more than the people who actually the building was created for. They loved that man. That's why I say to you, you need to unlearn. It's cool for you to go to a building. It's cool for you to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's cool for you to do all of that shit. But if you don't wake up and apply the shit that you are learning, read and apply. Read. Reading is fundamental. Read and apply the shit that you are learning. I was talking to my mom and I was like, you have 4 kids. She actually has a ton of kids. She has a ton of them because people just gravitate. She's a godmother to like half of Milwaukee. I don't know. But she has 4 children, right? All of her children she raised. She gave us the solid foundation of work and love and communication. Like, that's the solid foundation we all have. Now, as we are growing up, we are all going to have our own personal experiences in life. But guess what? If our foundation is solid, we won't stray too far from that. We will still be on that road, and we will be good. This is what I be trying to get people that like go to church and they be like, "Oh, I show you should come back to church. You should stop feeling like that, and you should just give it to God." And I was like, "Well, God was there the entire time because He was omnipresent, anyways." But I say, if you know that I know the same thing that you know, I'm just not in the same spaces. I can reach people that you will never go to this gay club and be talking to people. And I'm not saying, hey, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I'm showing you love because ultimately Jesus is love, isn't he? I'm showing people love. I'm showing them love. I'm supporting them. I'm encouraging them. And I'm letting them know if you ever get into a situation where you need to talk, you need someone to express, just listen. You have a safe space over here. Nurturing Conversations is a safe space. I know I'm like my YouTube, but me, I'm a safe space. My house is a safe space. If you don't believe, ask anybody that's ever been to my house, it's a safe space. I don't do that negative talking. I don't do none of that. Over here, it's positive. I'll be talking to people. Let me tell you, I really realize that my family and friends, a lot of them stop talking to me because, I'm the type of person, if you tell me you want to do a business, I'm going to be on you. Like, I'm going to be asking you questions all the time. Okay, what's going on with this? Did you do this? Did you apply for this? And, some people just like, I don't want you to be asking me questions all the time. And I get it. I totally get it. But if you tell me you have a passion about something and this is something that you want to do, I'm going to say, here's what you want to do. And then if you don't take the steps to do it, that's when I just be like, oh, okay, you wasn't as serious as I thought you was. Because when you ever knows when people tell you about a business idea or something that they think about, they so excited. And then when it's time for them to actually walk the walk while they've been doing all that talking, it's like, ooh, I don't even know. I didn't even think about that. Well, let's do this. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. So I'm gonna tell you this as somebody who has a business and was pitching and talking about it for the first time. I realized that I actually talked publicly about my business, and I say publicly, I mean like I actually talked about it on social media. I be out in these venture capital streets. I be out in all these different. I be everywhere in a business professional sense, but like personally, I never really talk about it. Might mention it here, but I never really talked about what I do. And it's really important. And then, when you start talking about who you are and what you do, people will be like, be humble. You should be humble. And in reality, it's like, you should not talk about your shit because now I'm going to feel bad because I don't got anything that's going on. When it's like, we all could have some shit going on. That's just what I'm feeling right now. So I'm not going to be humble. If you're wondering, I'm not going to be humble. I'm just going to keep speaking about the shit that I'm doing in the positive ways, giving positive affirmations on a daily basis. I'm going to keep doing that shit because maybe that will encourage you to start, to get up off your ass and start doing what you've been wanting to do the entire time. Learn to unlearn, unlearn to learn. Unlearn that you have to go punch a clock for somebody else when you could actually work for yourself. It's this thing that they got where you could sell, you could literally read other people's books and get paid. Do y'all know how easy it is out here to get money? You don't got to do no PPP loan. I just said that because you can literally read books and get money. You could do voiceovers. Voiceovers. Do you like Subway? You should get voiceovers. I didn't even like the sound of my voice, but then somebody approached me and was like, hey, you should start doing, and I was like, And I looked into it. So yes, I'm definitely going to start doing, not going to start, I already started. So anyways, I'm doing everything. I told y'all, once it only takes me one time. I don't have to keep going through shit over and over and over. Nope. It only takes me one time. And I know that's probably not you. And you're probably like, oh, it's easier said than done. Let me tell you my philosophy about that. Again, this is just my opinion. The moment you make up in your mind, that exact moment, it is already done. Now, every minute you take from that, every second you take from that, you just got to walk in it. I knew that I was going to not walk in fear anymore. And As soon as I said I'm not walking in fear anymore, an opportunity came to me. And, for a split second, I was like, eh. And I was like, oh no, I got this. Oh no, I got this. I spoke this out in the air. I manifest this, as people say. I spoke this out in the air 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I spoke it out in the air. 2 years ago, it actually happened. And right now, today, it's happening again. And I'm grateful for it because what if I wouldn't have just what if I wouldn't have hopped out the porch? What if I would have still just been sitting here like, yeah, one day God gonna bless me. And I'm not saying that God not gonna bless you, but this is what I'm gonna say. I feel like everybody that was born on this earth, this is why I say who you were created to be. When I do my ending, I say everybody that was created on this earth was created with gifts and talents that they should be using, but we don't because we worried about what people gonna think. We worried about what people gonna say. We worried about if they gonna like it or if they don't like it. Now I get it. You got a business. The people are your customers, but in reality, if you present yourself in a confident manner, people would accept you. People will accept you. People will accept you. People will listen to you. You will become the expert on the shit that you are talking about. People will. It will happen. So if you're feeling like why why should I do it? It's like five different other people that's making homemade soaps or hair oils or lashes or frontal closures or whatever. But think about it like this. What if Pepsi would have been like Dr. Pepper is already the black soda on the market? Or what if the off brand, remember Jolly Good or Wildwood? What if they would have been like, oh no, Pepsi is the only person, so we can't make soda? But their business model was totally different because think about it. Pepsi is like, But then you could go in the store. Remember, you could go to the store and spend $1 and get chips, cake, a soda, or one of those little barrel juices and some candy. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that like it was yesterday. No, chips is like $1.89, $2. Mm-mm-mm. I want to make sure that I say this right. Learn to unlearn, unlearn to learn. That's dope. You could flip both of that around. It's gonna be my positive affirmation for tomorrow. But emotions do not define you. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about their emotions, how they feel or what they think, but I really think we should start talking about that. If you are upset, what made you upset? What made you mad? What made you hurt? What hurt you? What hurt you? Talk about that hurt. Exactly. Exactly. But then you got to find the right store. And when you find the right store, it's way on the other side of town. But we got to start talking about our emotions. We got to start talking more about how we feel. If more people are open and honest with how they feel, if you know that you hurt somebody, call them. I know you're probably like, nah, fuck them. Listen, we are currently surviving. I don't know if y'all like remember, but we are currently surviving a global fucking pandemic. Still, 2 years later. Not only that, there is Ebola, there is the norovirus, there is monkeypox, there's STDs. And have y'all seen how many people been sleeping with other people, and then the people they've been sleeping with, I'm telling you, it's too many sleeping around here. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay, not just because I had a really bad breakup 2 years ago, but because in my mind, I think like the last thing I want to do is get COVID again. That's number one. I had chicken pox before. I definitely don't want no fucking monkeypox. And I don't want to have no STD, especially not in 2022. I'm too grown for that. And you probably like, well, grown people get it too. You're right. That's because everybody want to have that feeling. At the end of the day, honey, that feeling is going to come and go multiple times. As long as you are alive, it's going to come and go. You should definitely want to protect yourself. Because what I think or what I feel is that most people don't understand the magnitude of health. They don't. It's like, when was the last time you went to the doctor? When was the last time you went to the dentist? When was the last time you had a physical? If you are a woman, when was the last time you had a breast exam? Do you know how important that shit is? Like, do you know how important it is for you to keep doctor records? Not just for you. If you are a parent, it's important that you keep it for your child. If you are a mother, it is definitely important that you keep it for your daughter so that she will know. I am so grateful that I know my grandmother's history. I know my great grandmother's history. I know my great aunt's history. I know my mother's history. I know those histories. So I know, like, and not even just the women in my family, I know the men's history too. So any event that something happens, it's like, okay, my family has a history of it. I remember when we were growing up, and my uncles, they definitely did the best that they could to school me on the game, but they didn't even know that I was gone. They didn't even know. So they will always say, check the family tree. And I was like, what the fuck I look like checking somebody's family tree? But then I started to understand what the fuck they meant when they said check the family tree. You got to start looking at their siblings. You got to start looking at their parents, right? Because if there is something that is not right in the family unit, more than likely it's going to pass down a generation or two, you know? We don't talk about that shit, but we'll talk about we'll talk about generational curses. Oh, that's a generational curse. My grandma, my granddaddy, grandmama, all of that, and then it's like, when is somebody gonna stand up and be like, no, the buck stop here. This shit not gonna keep going on. My little cousins ain't gonna feel like we felt when we was growing up. Everybody should know how they felt when they was growing up. You ain't gonna feel like that. Luckily for me, my grandma was just like, she did that to everybody. She used to take us to my grandmother is no longer with us. God bless her dead. But she used to take us to the gas station, right? And while we was pumping her gas, she's like, what ticket you want? What ticket you want? She was to give us a ticket, and if we won, she would give us the money. She would always take us to Big Boys. I don't know if y'all ever had a Big Boys, but oh, Big Boys is great. I found out that we have one. It's in like Menominee Falls. So y'all gonna see a video of me going to Big Boys. I'm gonna have to do it this week because I'm going. I'll figure it out. Anyways, for me, that was just like, I don't know. My grandmother was just like the best. And then I think about it like, I didn't start experience really fucked up shit until I didn't start experience fucked up shit. As I'm gonna say, is until I started going to church, and my life got flipped upside down from there. And so if you're watching this and you're wondering if I believe in God, I do not believe in the God of organized religion. I don't. I do believe that there is a higher power. I just don't believe in that God, in case you were wondering. Inquiring minds wanted to know. I told you. If you want to go deeper into the conversation, my email is in the description box. I can talk about this all day. Anyways, I definitely think that I'm going to do the Bible stories from a real person's perspective. Now, don't be trying to steal my title, because that's what it's going to be called. The Bible stories from a real person perspective. And I'm going to just talk about it because, sometimes we just need to hear the stories. And then I'm going to give you actual scriptures where you will read. It's kind of making me seem like I'm going to be a pastor. I don't know, but that's so weird. A preacher, not a pastor, a preacher, a minister. But hey, you should know this. If you're going to read it, you should know this. And I'm going to try to see if I could find, I'm pretty sure I could do it. Google, you could do anything. Where I could put the scripture or the Quran, whatever you read, I can put it in there where you can read it. So, I'll do that. Whew, I'll do that. Listen, it's not the emotions that define you. It's what you do with them that define you. So you need to learn to unlearn and unlearn to learn new things. Think about it, right? The last 2 fucking years, you had to unlearn so much shit that you thought you knew, and then you had to learn new shit. Because remember, we all couldn't go outside, so we had to figure out new ways. Some of us new ways shit worked, and some of us it didn't. And then it's like you have to figure out, okay, that didn't work, so let me do something different. And for me, it was like, that didn't work, so do something different. And when you do different shit, you take what you learned, what worked and what didn't work. And a lot of times we keep looking at, like I said, we need to love ourselves more, right? they don't teach us to love ourselves when we're growing up in the family. It's like, you don't, they're not telling you you're beautiful. They're not telling you. People is like, why do you say, hey, beautiful people? It's because I want you to know that you are beautiful. And I want you to feel welcome here. And I want you to feel welcome if you are returning. I want you to feel that. You know, the cutest thing that I realized, that I just realized, um, the intro music to my channel, right? My niece and nephews, like I be editing my videos, right? Soon as they hear that, they come over and they say, "Hello, beautiful people." Cam will say, "Welcome," and he said, "Welcome back." He don't say the other part in there, but Bo will say, "Hello, beautiful people, welcome." And I just thought to myself, how cool is it that they are actually able to say that? They able to repeat that and say it. And then I tell them how beautiful, how smart, how intelligent. I tell them all these different things and I let them be like them. I know sometimes their parents be like, Chelle, you be letting them, but for me, I want them to know that they have options. I want them to know that. I want them to know that they could ask a question if they don't understand, because this is what I think that parents don't understand. They're not asking to be like, challenging you. Like, why as a parent do you feel like I'm gonna challenge you? Like, that whole thing is something that needs to be talked about, because you're my parent. I just want to learn from you. See what I'm saying? I just want to learn. I want to know what you know. Like, you see the TikToks where the parents be like, my kids is asking me for questions or for help with their math homework. And it's like, damn, I feel dumb. Like, but I know I took math. And it's just like, if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, refer your child to somebody that could help them in that situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're watching this and you have a gay child, gay teenager, hell, if you are a gay adult and you don't know if you're comfortable coming out, or you don't know if you're comfortable with talking to people about, listen, there is a whole community on here on this YouTube. Find somebody you trust, find somebody you feel comfortable talking to, and talk to them. You don't have to go at this alone. No man is an island. I'm saying all kinds of shit people be saying, but no man is really an island. I realize that I'm not an island. I definitely be needing people. You know, lovely, let me tell you, I literally, when I was talking to them yesterday, I literally was telling them, like, oh, this is the seventh time outside of my mother and my doctor visits that I actually went outside. And it's like, you actually keeping count? I said, yes, because I need to know everywhere I went. I need to know all the people I talked to. I need to know how many people, I tell you how many people cough, sneeze, all that, because my mind is weird like that. But I was telling them, like, I don't go out. Like, I couldn't wait. I would literally tell my family, I would tell everybody, I could not wait for the day when we was just in the house. I knew it was going to come, because the way that the world was going, I knew it was going to come. And I just couldn't wait. I didn't know it was going to be a global fucking pandemic, but I couldn't wait. I love being at home. I'm a Cancer. I love being at home. Love it. I don't have to go outside. Now, let me tell you one thing I am weird about, and I will go outside for, and that's food. I don't want anybody to bring me my food. Oh no. Have y'all seen the stories of people? If you know me, I don't play about food. I don't even be eating food regularly like that, but when I do eat, I don't play. You could, you know how many times people done post it and it's like, oh, I ordered DoorDash, but the DoorDash driver said he or she dropped my food off. It was delivered, but it never came, and now they fighting DoorDash or Uber Eats, or it's a no for me. I know they had a bag staple and everything, but I still in my mind just be like, it's a no for me. Delivery drivers, when they be like, order a pizza, my brother be like, y'all just order a pizza. I just be like, I don't know. I think I'm weird. I'm weird about stuff like that. So that's why I just, like, when people be like, oh, call ahead and order it. Oh, that irks me, because I don't want to call ahead and order it. Especially when I'm ordering like from like Qdoba's or something, because you know, when you go in, they're going to put the right amount of meat. I don't like when people, if I'm paying you $15, because that's how much I pay for my food when I go to, because I don't have to, but I do. I get steak and chicken and every other thing that's over there. I want, oh no. I want everything on. I want everything. I just said that because she said a DoorDasher ate my food. See, I wouldn't. It's a no for me. It's a no. It's a no. It's so many no's for me. And that's another thing that I learned. I learned boundaries. Oh, that was so important for me to learn. And that's why I say I learned to let shit go. I learned to let people go. I never even thought I would have to let people go because, you just be like, yeah, I'm going to give you another chance. I'm going to give you another chance. Or I'm going to give you another chance. Listen, I'm going to give you another chance. And you keep, because they say you shouldn't marry people or shouldn't like do shit because you see the potential. And I understand that. I completely understand that because I be giving people the benefit of the doubt all the time. And I be giving them legs up, alley oops. Hell, I even put a ladder on the basket and hold the ladder while you walk up it, and people still don't get it. And that's not me like saying, oh, I'm writing people off. It's just like at this time, this is what I've been telling everybody. At this time, I'm focusing on me. Just me. Before I was focusing on my mom, my niece, nephews, I do care for these people. I never say that. I do care for them, but my main focus is me. Main focus. If it's not beneficial to me where my sleep or anything is compromised, my boundaries are compromised, I'm not doing it. It's a no. And I will quickly, before I would be like, well, trying to, no, it's a no. And if I'm really feeling good, it's a hell no. And if you don't hear me the first time, it's a fuck no. No has become my new favorite word. I will tell you no swifter than you could blink your eyes, and people blink really fast. No. And I'm comfortable with saying it. Sometimes we need to get comfortable with saying no. We need to get comfortable with leaving unhealthy situations, whether it be work, church, jobs. We need to be comfortable with doing that. You got people telling you like, oh girl, you should stay with him. He taking care of your bills. So what, he cheating? So what he doing? Hey bro, I mean that's your baby mama, so no. You shouldn't stay anywhere. Somebody said you shouldn't have to do anything. Like you shouldn't have to go above and beyond for people to love you. If you have to go above and beyond for people to love you, they don't love you. I watched this divorce court, and the lady was like, she said she said he don't love you. He told you 50 different ways, but you ain't hear it. You didn't see it. You didn't hear it. And the reality of it is, people be telling us blatantly, blatant. They be so blunt with it, like I don't like you, and some of them don't even say it. Just I don't like you. They said I don't like you. They show you I don't like you. I don't respect you. They show us all the time. But you know what we do? We give them the benefit of the doubt. I love them. I've been with them since high school. I known them since band camp or whatever. And then it's just like, no, you got to move on. You got to learn to let go and move on. And I'm telling you, when you let go and move on and you step on the other side of fear, because fear is another thing that keeps us in a thing. Like, think about your family. If your family come from situations where it's like, oh, or so and so went out and got money, now look at them, they think they're better than everybody in the family. It's not that they think they better than everybody in the family. It's you thinking that they think that they're better than everybody in the family, and you just feel bad because you don't want to get off your ass. You got the same money as they. Y'all come from the same blood. It's in you to get the same. But people don't want to get up off their ass. They don't want to take accountability. They don't want to take responsibility. Again, these are just my opinions. You can feel free to challenge them if you would like. And that is going to do nothing but create a nurturing conversation around it. But more people need to get up off their ass. Get up off their ass and get to work. Because whether you believe it or not, time is not long. I know time is a construct that man made, but at the same time, every day you wake up, you got 24 hours to be great. Every day. Literally. Every day. Learn to unlearn, unlearn to learn. Another thing that I realized is I used to be uncomfortable when there was silence. I used to be uncomfortable when like people didn't like if people felt some kind of way about me. I used to be so uncomfortable because I wanted everybody to love me. Again, that was because I didn't have love when I was younger. I did, but I didn't know how to accept it, I didn't know how to accept it. And then I had a major level 1 trauma surgery, and then I understood what it meant to be loved. I felt love. I currently feel love. I feel love on so many different levels. It's so unexplainable. But I'm going to tell you this. You know love. If you are a parent, the first time you look at your child, love. When they're sick, love. When they bad as ever, love. When they first day of school, love. I think that's mixed with love when you're going to feel alone or you just got to let them go. But it's okay, though, because, they... See, I was about to say that they going to come back, but the times in which we living in, that's why you got to show love. Love, communication, respect. We got to do all of that. Hopefully I said something tonight that helps you to think, inspires you to change, inspires you to be better, encourages you to be better. And it was positive. I know you probably like, girl, you just sat up here and talked about a bunch of... Listen, I'm pretty sure I said something that's going to stick with you. I'm pretty sure. Even if it's nothing but love yourself. It's going to stick with you. Learn to unlearn, unlearn to learn. I like that. That's all I got. I got a juice video that's going to come up. I should have uploaded it earlier, but today has been a day. I'm grateful for this day. But that's all I got. Remember that it is important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling and what you are thinking. I know we like to think like, I've been with you for so many years, or you should know. No, we gotta verbalize these things. Verbalize it. Remember, I will never let a live video vlog short or anything that I present to you go out without me telling you to love yourself. Like, truly fucking love yourself. Like, don't put anybody else above yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself when you fuck up. Love yourself when you do good. Love yourself when you make a mistake. Love yourself when you fail. Love yourself. Love every fucking part of you. Original and new. Because, love yourself. Know yourself. Know that regardless of what anything, any situation, any person tries to put on you, you know yourself. You know what is you, what isn't you. Trust yourself. Trust that you will not lead yourself astray. Trust. And for the love of humanity, just fucking be yourself. Not who I want you to be, not who the world wants you to be, but be that person. When you wake up in the morning and you like, yes, this is who I am. I'm going to say this, right? We were talking and I was like, people don't look at themselves in the mirror. And they were sitting at the table. Everybody was like, wait. And the one lady said, I never look at myself in the mirror. And I was like, people don't look in the mirror. Do you know what you see when you look in the mirror? You see you. You see everything that you have been through in your entire life. You see you. And you should look in the mirror every day and be like, I am beautiful. I am smart. I am intelligent. I am confident. I am affirmations. You should say that. You could say, I want to be. One day I will be. You could say any one of those things, but you have to look at yourself to know where you are. Most people don't even look at themselves in the mirror. But I'm going to tell you, when they do look at themselves, they put the makeup on, they put the outfit, they put the costume on, they look at themselves and they be like, yeah, I'm fly. But when they don't have any of that on, notice how many people look in the mirror. Guarantee you're gonna think about it this week, and you think about how many times you look in the mirror. If you come back and you're watching it, you're not watching it live, you come back and watch it, think about how many times you look at yourself in the mirror. You ever notice babies when they're little, they look in the mirror and they just smile and they playing with themselves and they talking to themselves? But when we get an adult, we don't be looking at ourselves in the mirror. We bypass the mirror. Think about it when you're brushing your teeth in the morning. Do you look in the mirror? Or do you look away? Or do you got your head in the sink and you just... Think about it. Got to start looking at ourselves. The more you look at the self, the more you look at yourself, you are able to heal those things. Healing is what the world needs now is healing. That's what we need. We need healing. We need Jesus, Buddha, Allah, Mother Teresa, whoever it is. We need them to heal us. That's what we need, healing. We got people come from hurt childhoods. We got parents who come from hurt childhoods and they raising hurt kids. It's a lot of hurt in this world. We tired of hurt people hurting people. I don't know if you are, but I'm tired of hurting people. I want people to go get help. Maybe your help is in therapy. I'm sure in hell, isn't in the clubs. It's not in the alcohol. It's not in sex. It's not in drugs. It's not in any of those things. I'm going to tell you where it's at. It's looking in that mirror and being like, you know what? I'm tired of fucking being like this. Because you know, when people be like, my situation gonna change. God gonna change my situation. And then God looking down like, honey, I gave you that the first day you were born. I gave it to you. You just got to stand up and find the courage within yourself and own that shit. That's what I'm doing. I'm owning this shit. Anyways, make sure you get your toiletries, non-perishable food items, water, disinfectant, put a little money to the side. And people be like, why do you be saying that? Because listen, I don't know if y'all be paying attention or not to the news. We had cargo ships couldn't come in. We had trucking. There was a big thing with the trucking. Now it's a big thing with the train, the railway industry. It's a lot of shit going on that we're not even paying attention. We're not even being mindful of. Think about this. What if they shut the fucking government down again? And you're probably like, no, it wouldn't happen. But I don't know if you read history books or you read things that happened previous to right now, which is history books. You will see that there is a pattern. There are patterns that are there. And so I want you and your family to be prepared given any fucking thing. Because you remember, people were selling a bottle of water for like $5-10. They were just doing it. Y'all don't. Tissue was high. Everything was high. Listen, I want you to be okay. And if you are out here doing a horizontal tango, if you're knocking boots or whatever you want to call it, wrap it up. Wrap it up. We need to have those, bring those commercials back. We need to wrap it up. STDs at an all-time high. In the midst of a fucking pandemic. Woo, that's some scary shit right there. Anyways, that's all I got. You know what time it is? If you don't know what time it is, I suggest you watch the Finger Sweetie because they will tell you. Until next time, I love y'all. I truly appreciate each and every one of you that came over last night for Saturday Night Vibes. I truly appreciate you for coming tonight. Hopefully you come next Sunday. I don't have a topic yet, but it'll pop up there this week. That's all I got. Until next time, I love you. Peace.